That clip right there is part of a trailer from Headliners Only, which features the one and only Kevin Hart and Chris Rock. Two juggernauts in the world of comedy, social commentary, celebrity. These guys are masterful at what they do. We've watched their journeys over the decades, but do we really know the true stories in the context of things that we saw in the public eye? Both of them, ups and downs. I've known Kevin Hart for years. I've known Chris Rock for years. And to sustain the level of success that they have deserves a round of applause.
Woo!
It deserves recognition.
Yes.
It deserves a presentation and documentation. And who better to do it than this award-winning director, producer, not only in multi-spots, in multi-places, not only on the big screen or the small screen, but also he's masterful in the digital space. And that's something you had to evolve to become because the digital space wasn't as essential when he started as it is today.
Break it down.
Television, he's done it all. He's worked with global brands. One of the interesting things he did, I remember Larry Jackson, who now has the company Gamma from the Bay Area, worked with him on KMEL like a little brother. He and I did production deals with Clive Davis over at J Records. And I remember he went over when he was making his transition. He rode his bike up the West Side Highway, Larry Jackson did, and met me at a festival to tell me about this new thing that was going to launch called Apple Music. Right? And I said, well, Larry, what does this mean, Apple Music? What is it going to do? I work at Sirius XM with Pandora. He told me the whole concept. I said, what's going to be most important for you is how you brand this, the imaging around it, the marketing around it, and you should get the right people to do that. And they did. They got our next guest right here. Like I said, the director and producer of Headliners Only, Rashidi Harper.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Rashidi Harper is in the building. I was going to say Sheed, but Rashidi Harper is in the building.
Only a few people can call me Sheed. You understand? You're one of them.
There you go.
Okay.
This is my brother, by the way, of L.A. and the Bay, Rashidi Harper. We go way back. And I'm so proud to have you on this platform today, brother.
Man, Sway,
Welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Had to be pleasure to meet you and see you again. You
Man,
know what I'm
thank
saying,
you.
sis?
Yes,
Yes.
Tracy,
It's a great time, man. It's a great time. We excited about this film, man.
How did this, before we get to that, your career, I had a chance to watch for decades now, hasn't been easy. We met because of the Bay Area, but you're originally from Los Angeles.
Yes.
Okay. How did you get to the Bay?
My mother's from the Bay Area.
Okay.
So I've been going back and forth between LA and the Bay my whole life. You know, my grandmother lives there. In Vallejo, grew up across the street from 40 and D-Shot and Sugar T.
You literally were across the street from them.
Yeah, they house is across the street from my grandmother's house. So in the summer times, we would just be hanging out. This is way before 40 was 40, you know, 40 water.
Yeah. This is he's still an athlete, right? Was he out of school? Or?
Yeah, I think he was still in school, but probably an athlete. But like, I just remember what I remember the most about going over their house is their moms. You know what I mean? Moms was super, super cool and always just a loving person. You know, so yeah, we spent a lot of time together, my cousins and his family.
What was the catalyst to you going into telling stories and making films and directing and producing?
So when I was in LA, I used to act. My mother was a theater student at LA City College, and I did a lot of acting and sitting in the background watching her rehearse. So I had the opportunity to get on stage as a young man, like, you know, about 10 years old, something like that.
Wow.
And I came up just adoring acting, you know, and I thought I was going to be an actor for a lot of my life. And that got interrupted when I had to move to the Bay Area. Just, you know, family situation was a little tight, and I went to go live with my aunt. But how it was sold to me was I was going to go to school at Berkeley High with my favorite cousin.
Who's your favorite cousin?
My favorite cousin, Vaughn. What up, Vaughn?
Big Vaughn?
No, not
no.
Big
Oh,
Von.
oh,
No,
oh,
not Big Von. And let's be clear, this is the original Von I'm talking about.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Respectfully, Big Von.
Yeah.
My cousin Von had a problem that summer, and his pops pulled him out. And so when I got to Berkeley, I was solo,
Wow.
you know, and had to make a lot of great friends. One of which was the wonderful Onika Day.
Onika, yeah, she went to Berkeley High.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So I lived up there in Berkeley, and while I was in Berkeley, I didn't have the access to audition like I was doing before I moved. I didn't have the access to act in the same way, in the same pool that LA was. You know, like I was on it. Like I was almost on Hill Street Blues, if you want to know how long ago I was.
Wow.
Damn, he said Hill Street Blues. Tracy doesn't get that reference.
That's Stephen Bochco. That's like some old,
What's
some
an old TV series?
old NBC,
Cop series.
Got it. That's how long you've been doing it.
It's been a while.
Okay.
It's been a while.
CSI.
Near the years you were born. Is when that was
somewhere around there.
Okay.
But no, I then, got exposed to Spike Lee, man, and like a lot of filmmakers from my era. Yeah. When She's Gotta Have It came out, and I was sitting in that movie theater, I was like, yo, this is it. It could actually happen. Like I could actually direct instead of act, and I've been on that journey ever since.
Wow. How did you teach yourself?
Yeah.
Well, when you're acting, you're being directed, and you're learning what directing is because you're having conversations with, talented people. And I think one of the commercials I was on, I just remember this guy, and I was like, he looks like he's in charge. And I wanted to be in charge, basically. And then I found out that that's not really who's in charge. Like the people, whoever paid for it,
that's the
tends
person
to be
The
who's
ones
in
not
charge.
in the room are in charge.
Yeah, right?
But I mean, the artists, man, I think we do something that's special, be it paint or music or direct or act. It's like we're really pulling from inside ourselves, and we're taking and creating something out of nothing. So one of my favorite things about the work that I do is it starts with an idea, and then we move from the idea into something that we can all go and watch tomorrow. Like over 300 people gonna watch it at that premiere. We're having a premiere here in New York tomorrow. So it's like that kind of moment is fun and special, and it's great to create. Like it's all been driven from creating and making things for me.
Wow.
Rashidi Harper is here, y'all. Get to know him. You can follow him at Harperville, right?
Rashidi, is
Yes.
it difficult for you to watch your work when it's done? Because there's so much that goes into it. Just like you said, the ideation and then getting the budget together, cast, et cetera, et cetera. I can imagine as someone who is such thoroughbred creative, I wonder if when it's done, do you ever see like any little tweaks you could have made? Does it bother you? Or can you surrender to the moment?
I'm trying to surrender to the moment right now.
Yeah.
A lot of work and dedication has gone into my career and into this film in particular. And I'll probably watch it, like the last time I'll probably watch it will be Tuesday when it comes out globally on Netflix.
We're talking about headliners only.
Headliners only will be out on Netflix on 12/12, and that'll probably be the last time that I watch it for a while. You know, and that's because there's other projects going on, and no one wants to rest on their laurels. You know what I mean? It's like it's always about what's next, and the trick is to do the work, put your heart into it, let it come out, and let the people say whatever it is or not, but you steady moving on to the next thing. And that's where my head's at.
Word. When you spoke about seeing this individual and being like, yo, that's the energy of a boss, and that's what I'm trying to wear as well. But being a director is a very collaborative experience. Was it easy for you? Was it challenging to relinquish some control and collaborate with other people? Because sometimes you have like actors that come in and they kind of are self-directing themselves too.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I think in terms of me seeing a director and saying he's a boss, I mean, I was like 13 years old at that time. You know what I mean? And now I'm much more aware of the collaborative spirit of it. It's like it really is like being in a band. You know what I mean? And you might be the lead singer, or if there's a person in the band that's like the producer. You might be the producer or whatever, but you can't do it without literally every position from your partners to the production assistant to the intern. Like, it's like everyone plays a role. And the important thing that I've learned is when everyone does play their role and like fully gives in to that, that's when you make some of the best stuff, because everyone's clear,
Amen.
you know, on what it is to that we're doing. And as far as actors are concerned, I think they understand that it's a collaboration. I think they look for what it is that your vision is as the director, and it's really just a series of conversations. You know, like the way I like to do it is, by the time the cameras are rolling, we've talked about it so much, everyone's clear on what it's going to be, you know. And in Headliners Only, which is a documentary, it's a little different.
Right.
Because I do both scripted narrative and I do
Let the
unscripted,
people
you
know.
Better come on, scripted narrative. Come on, in docu style.
Multidimensional, whatever you
Yeah.
want.
Town business.
You know, I do this across the board.
Right.
In this sense, working with Kevin Hart was just amazing, because not only is he a great talent, he produced the project along with me and my company, the 51B, and my partners, Malcolm Spellman and Obi Okoye. And, you know, we were very clear on what we were trying to make. And then as life happens, things don't always go as planned. And it's a documentary that you're making. Like, it's not a scripted piece. It's like things that happen just happen. And you just go with it and roll with it. And that's something that, you know, I've learned across a couple of different projects.
Rashidi Harper is here, man. He's the producer and director of Kevin Hart and Chris Rock, Headliners Only, Heather B. You want to jump in here and talk with Rashidi?
I do. I have a question, because when you mentioned music and producers and bands, I thought about like artists, and sometimes artists get bored.
Yeah.
You know, you're doing the same thing. You feel like you do the same thing. So as an artist, you say, well, maybe I should try a new studio, or maybe I should work with other producers. Do directors get bored? And if so, how do you get out of that rut? Do you go look for new talent, or do you change up your DP or your casting person?
Yeah, I think you don't get as easily bored, because every project is its own thing. You know what I mean? You're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, for example, my experience on my FX series, Hip Hop Uncovered, is a totally different experience than we had on Headliners Only. Like, Hip Hop Uncovered was more, you know.
Right. Even in a series situation, you don't come across boredom.
Nah, not me.
Not you.
But
okay.
Because I enjoy what I do, right? But I do mix it up, right? So, for example, I just decided to shoot a short film like about a week or two ago, right?
Got it.
My DP, Robert Benavidez, who shot most of my doc work, I didn't go to him on that. I was like, let me go to this other cat that I work with, that I've done some projects with that have inspired me in a different way, August Thurmer. So he and I got together and we made this film that I'm working on now. And you do mix it up, but it's not, for me, it's not out of boredom. It's just like every project calls for something different. And sometimes you have to just decipher, like, what is that? What's needed, you know?
Man, Rashidi Harper is here. Just total transparency. You and I worked together on something.
Yes, we did.
You want to speak to that?
Man, I mean,
Who you play, Sway?
we worked on a few things.
Yeah.
Back when in the King Tech and Sway days, this thing that we're doing now, like, this man was up on it like decades ago. We literally, there's footage of some of the best battle rappers of the moment.
Yeah.
In a room like this,
Right.
with you and King Tech and these amazing rappers battling it out, like doing their thing. And that was, I don't know, that was like the late 90s.
That was the late 90s. That was the mid 90s. We were just ahead of the cusp. Like, we had a vision for documentation and presentation that we wanted to do for the culture. It's purely for the culture, right? That's how, remember that?
Always.
You know, it was purely for the culture. And so we were kind of like ahead of our time with that. but we were always open to adjustment. And I'm curious to you, with the digital age coming in, and you have now more people who have access to producing content, and and you got a lot of young directors and filmmakers that are coming up. What kind of changes? Like, I know we talk about how music changes and sound changes, so producers have to adjust to the times. What kind of changes did you have to adjust to as a film director?
Well, the first change I had to adjust to was shooting in film. Like, I had only known shooting in 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter. And when that digital age first dropped, it was like a huge difference, technically, and in terms of like just not getting the budgets in the same way. Like, everything just sort of switched, and that was a tough era. I actually, in that time, I moved from music to, I had a television series through Scripps Network, Fine Living. It was called a network called Fine Living. I transitioned into unscripted at that time, like for the first time, and we had a show about designers. It was called iDesign, and we interviewed product designers and architects in the same way that you interview a director about their film. We talked to them about their products. So I was in Switzerland at a watchmaker's place. Here in New York, we did this brother named Kareem Rashid, who's a big furniture designer and a product designer, all kind of products. And that was probably my first professional experience of working with digital in terms of the camera. And it was a much smaller situation that I had been used to. Like, I had been on sets. I came up during music videos.
Like, name some of the people you worked with. Wyclef, right?
Oh yeah, Wyclef Jean, Missy Elliott, Lil Mo, Justin Timberlake, Snoop
Justin
Dogg.
Timberlake music video?
I did a project for Brian McKnight's tour. Brian McKnight and Justin had a song together, and I shot Justin like before he went solo. It was right in between NSYNC and his solo career.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, beautiful little piece we did. And then I worked with Dr. Dre. Like, that's probably the headline.
The beats.
That's like,
Wow.
yeah, Dr. Dre. When you talked about Larry Jackson and Apple, I mean, that's the guy. Dr. Dre is who hired me and got me over there into that situation. But yeah, man.
What did Dre say to you when he talked to you about this?
Hey, Rashidi, hey, I'm about to go do this thing, man. You want to...
That's all he gave
That was
you?
terrible. That was terrible.
That was a good one, though.
He'd be so mad.
I know,
He'd be
right?
so mad. He'd be like, nah, don't talk like that. What the fuck you talking about?
Did you know, like, this Apple Music? Did you understand, like, the magnitude that it would? No.
No one really did, I think, because it was new, What I understood was that I had a great opportunity to make Dre look as great as he could look, And we produced his radio show, The Pharmacy, and my partner, Yamani Watkins, and we produced all the visuals. And it was at a time when, again, this thing that we're doing now wasn't really at the forefront of what was happening. And I understood visuals, and I understood that we needed a strong visual component. And every episode, we would just shoot like a commercial or like, a promo spot, if you will, and captured a lot of great moments and a lot of good times.
How do you know when the visual is dope? Like, how do you know the idea is going to work?
Man, I have taste.
Ow!
You know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
I was hoping I'd get an ow.
You earned that, man.
I got taste.
Can we talk about Hype Williams for a second?
Absolutely.
And the impact that he's made as a creator, as a filmmaker, as a video director, and the impact he's made on your life?
So for me, Hype Williams is a very dear friend. He's more than just a filmmaker and an icon in the space. He's someone that changed my life, in that he is the first person that brought me to New York. Like, we connected through a filmmaker and music video legend named Lionel Martin and Ralph McDaniels. They had a company called Classic Concepts, and they used to come to LA and work. And so Hype was working with them in New York. I was working with them in LA, and they told me one day I just decided I wanted to stop being a production assistant. And Lionel hooked me up with Hype, and Hype was starting to direct at that time, and I was his assistant director. So basically, Hype came to LA. We did like
what kind of projects that what we know of?
I know for sure in LA we did. I want to say Daddy Freddy was one of the first projects we did. And then Freestyle Fellowship.
Oh,
Wow.
shout out
Hot
to
Potato.
Hot Potato?
video.
Y'all did Hot
Yeah.
Potato video?
Hot Potato is a Hype Williams
Hype
production.
did Freestyle Fellowship's Hot Potato?
Yeah, no doubt.
That's a legendary
doubt.
group out of LA. Think of the Good Life movement. All that they gave birth to a whole different generation of MCs.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but so Hype.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how we met, and we hit it off. And he was like, "Yo, I'm about to start my own company. You want to come to New York and work with me?" I was like, "Hell yeah!" And the first thing we did was a PM Dawn video shot in Brooklyn at April Walker's house from Walker Wear.
Wow.
And
PM Dawn was in April Walker's house. Huh?
yeah. I can't remember the name of the song at the moment, but that's how we first started. And Hype brought me out, and we just did a lot of great things. It was him, Malik Saeed, if you're not familiar. We just did a lot of videos, like super low budget at the time, and Hype always, his claim to fame for me is having me in and out of every project and across New York City with a Bolex camera, him and Malik, and really creating magic, man.
Yeah. Man, Rashidi Harper is here. We're talking about Chris Rock and Kevin Hart and Chris Rock's Headliners Only. It's going to be on Netflix on December 12th.
Yes.
Premiering on the 8th here in NYC. That's tomorrow. They're going to have a premiere. What did Chris Rock and Kevin Hart tell you they wanted to accomplish with this? How did...
I think they were clear that they were doing a tour here in New York. It was during 1 week, and they wanted to capture the moment and try to figure out a way to make it bigger than just a behind the scenes, you know? And so they partnered with us, my partners Obi, Tammy, and Malcolm, and we just spitballed some ideas internally and then took it back to Kevin and Chris and said, look, this is what we think the film is. We think everyone knows you as, both of you guys, as these great comedians, but I'm interested in showing you as the human beings that you are.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy for us as the audience to look at the product and think that's what the life is, but there's so much more that goes into the final product, right? And what was fun about it was just getting them to open up about what the New York comedy scene means to a comedian in general and what it meant to their careers 15 years apart. You know, they're not like they're contemporaries, but like they're 15 years apart. So
damn, I didn't realize that.
Either.
yeah.
How old is Kev?
Yeah. Kev is in his 40s, early 40s.
But you gotta think, like, Chris Rock was on SNL and everything. So
that's right.
and he was in like CB4 and movies like that. You know, it's a long New Jack City. Not New Jack City. Yeah,
New Jack City. Yeah.
Harlem Nights. You know, so it was a lot.
Wow.
So,
not Harlem Nights, Boomerang.
Boomerang, yeah, and Beverly Hills Cop 2. You know,
remember that?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so
you fucking me out.
I mean, I think in this moment we're in, you know, both of them are just seen as these icons, but we get a chance to go back and sort of retrace their steps of how they got to this great moment that we had together at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an exciting film. It's if you're fans of them, you're gonna definitely enjoy this film and this journey that they share with us. And yeah, we're excited.
Kevin Hart is 44. Chris Rock is 58.
Chris looks awesome.
Yeah,
they both
man.
look
No
great,
kidding.
man.
It's great.
Wow.
No idea.
Rashidi Harper is here. We got a few callers, man. If you don't mind, we got creatives from all over the country that tune in. So we're gonna go to North Dakota, and we got Justin on the line. Justin, welcome to the show.
Just, what's up?
Justin.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, good. Go ahead. What's your question?
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me. I'm a avid listener to Shade 45.
My guy.
And I love the content, everything, the messaging, so dope. And
Thank you.
It's an honor to be talking to you guys right now. And but my question is, so I'm an indigenous filmmaker from North Dakota, right? And I've been doing this since 2013. I started out as an actor, and then was cast in a film like your typical poverty porn project, written, produced, directed by non-natives.
Yeah.
But the story is about natives, and I got a role in a film, and I was excited. I didn't really care because it was my chance to be on screen to show my talent as an actor. Long story short, they made the film without me, but that's the moment when I realized if I'm going to be in movies that represent us properly, I decided I'm going to make my own films. So I started teaching myself film. And I did a music video for a musician from LA. And after that music video came out, that's when everybody started calling me for work. And I've been doing it since. But I'm like right at that edge.
You at that edge where you about to ask the question? You there? You on the edge of the question, Justin?
To where I feel like I want to get.
Great
and
setup,
how did you get to that next level? How did you get to that level where you're at right now? Because I'm right at that edge of getting to that point.
I love it.
But how did you get to yourself to that point?
I think the realest answer is that I never quit. It's not really. There's never one thing that just sends you over the top. It's always a series. It's a body of work, and that's really what you're looking for. You know, I would encourage you to just focus on the work. Know that the blow up and the bread and all that stuff is gonna come when it comes. You know, in the meantime, be creative and go for it, and just don't stop. Like, I'm only here for a couple decades plus because I never stopped, and I'm no different than anyone else in terms of I've had my own struggles and adversity along the way, but like I just don't quit, and I love what I do.
Hey, thanks for your call, Justin. You're a super citizen.
A Sway in the morning. Good luck with everything.
We have Zuri from Charlotte on the line. Zuri, go for it. How you doing, Zuri? Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey.
Good morning.
Hi. So my question, well, basically it's a lot. So I'm a senior at Winston-Salem State University. Go Rams. I'm a mass communications major, and so I've done a lot when it comes to radio, news reporting, podcasting, and I really have a lot of questions for not only you, Sway, but also for Rashidi Harper, because, well, I'm going to backpedal.
Okay, Zuri, you got to give us one question, unfortunately. What's the question for Rashidi? And then you can always call back for me. Okay.
No, it's a question for the both of you guys. It's one question. You're fine.
Okay.
So basically my question is, what advice do you have for students who are trying to get into their career after graduation? Because I know that we live in a very competitive environment. And so I would just like to know, how do you encourage young adults to pursue what they want to do, whether it's in production or digital media overall?
I think it's twofold. The first thing is to go somewhere where they're working at a high level around you. You know what I mean? Because you can never underestimate the power of professionalism and understanding how to work with people and be around people, and see what you can learn from them, both on what they do right and what they do wrong. The other thing I would say to you is, or to that student, is to always continue to make things constantly. Don't stop making things for yourself, because that exercise in itself helps you build your craft and find your voice, and when you get the moment, the breakthrough moment, you'll be ready for it.
Okay, Zuri, that's some great advice. I would echo that. And then I would say, in the process, as much rest as you can get, as much self-care as you can give yourself as you're going through this journey, make sure you do it. We came up at a time where we were taught to grind and not sleep and not eat properly and do all these different things. And I dare say, had we done those things differently, as creative as we were, we might have been even more creative. So I would suggest that, okay? Zuri, thank you for your call. You're a super citizen.
A Sway in the morning.
Yo, Rashidi Harper, man, I want to thank you for coming through today, brother.
Man, this is a bucket list moment right here, baby.
Come on, man.
Come on, Bella.
We got more to talk about, though. Yeah. You know, so you can always come up here when you come to town, or when we're broadcasting from L.A. Come hang out with your family, man. Thank you for what you do, what you've contributed, the work that we've done together, even with the Wake Up Show. Thank you, brother. I'm glad I'm a part of your legacy. I appreciate you.
Likewise. Thank you, man. Great to be here. Thank you very much.